I'm gonna walk you through my photo editing process. And it starts with me just getting all of my images into Lightroom, and then I go through, and you'll see I've already gone through once, and I'll mark down all of the photos that I think are winners. So I start with just hitting a 1 star, and then I'll go through all of them again and go through 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, you get the drift, until I get down to like my very top images. So once I get my top images in here, let's like grab this one, I'll go over to my develop mode, and then I've created a preset that I use as my base preset. So it's the KL standard. I throw this in here, and then from here I go in and I tweak all of the settings to get the final image that I'm going to end up sending to the client. Obviously this is a recent trip just to the mountains that I'm showcasing here, but I'll go through and I'll play with the exposures, I'll go in with brushes, and I have a bunch of like preset brushes that I've made. So a good one here would be like to darken the skies, because the skies are super blown out here. And I just go through and slowly start tweaking all the things. That didn't do much because I think I shot this like directly into the sunlight. But yeah, so this is my process. It's, you know, the first setting that I do, the Katie Lee standard, is just to get the base. It's never the final movement that I do. And then I go through and I look at the colors and I make sure all of that feels like my vibe. And then I'll go in and create, you know, smaller adjustments to make sure that the thing that I want to stand out, the story I'm trying to tell, is what's the most prominent in each image. So I'll just go through here. So you'll already see this is the before, this is the after, and you'll see that like I really like high contrast, really colorful without it looking fake or oversaturated. I like images to look really sharp. And when I'm finished with an image, I want you to walk away with a sense of it being colorful, bold, adventurous, and there has to be some sort of like storytelling element to it. So a lot of the images, like some of the landscape images I do, these are images that are usually just in my print shop and are not part of the storytelling process unless it's part of a larger series of images. And this is just the image that's like setting the story so that you know the environment it takes place in. But yeah, that's pretty much a quick, very quick look into my editing process. What I did with this photo, I then go through all of my 5-star photos and I'll do the same thing for. And then my final tip is that while I work really fast and I know what I like to see, I also know that like you miss details because you're staring at screens for so long. So I will stop, I'll stop the editing process after so long and then wait 24 hours and come back and relook at images to decide if it's working for me or not. And that's been a really like big thing in my process, is making sure I give 24 hours before finalizing the images and sending them to the client, just so that I can make sure that I didn't miss out on any of the details. And I've noticed that has really like, it makes my quality of work so much higher, and it just allows, you know, that attention to detail. It's really, it's really the killer thing. And one thing I'd also like to know is, sorry. One thing I'd like to know is that a lot of my presets, like they're really minute details. So some things are like, this is a whole, almost a whole, I mean, this is adding a lot of light to this sign just because it was really dark because I'm shooting against the sun. But a lot of my other presets are just like small, like little changes in the colors, or I'll go in with, you know, my brush and I'll make really tiny detail changes that most people won't notice, but when you add all of those little details together, you really start to like build out an amazing image. And it's just those tiny details strung together in a line that make a huge difference. So when I'm all done with this, I have presets of how to export, so I can export these, and then I upload them to my online gallery and send them out to the client.